Chicago Bears have officially franchise tagged cornerback Jaylon Johnson. Me and Steve are going to break it all down, talk about it. But first, got to play that intro.
Now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Steve Haize in the building today. So with a little bit under 2 hours left to franchise tag, the Bears went ahead and made the decision to franchise tag Jaylon Johnson. This was just announced about 15 minutes ago. Steve, me and you, kind of everybody kind of expected that to happen. The Bears have been reportedly, they went to the table with their best offer. They decided to franchise tag him. That still leaves them, I believe, up until June to negotiate a new contract. I'll double check that. But what do you think about the Bears go ahead and franchising tagging Jaylon Johnson?
His asking price had to be dumb high. Had to be way over the 20 million mark. So, of course, we already know Pose is not going to spend over as much money as he needs to. If he feel like it's the right thing to do, he's going to do it. And in this situation, I feel like he felt to what we seen from him, what we seen in the past. What his asking price at the current moment was not what he was producing. So he said, "I give you this franchise," which this franchise is not not little. It's a nice, pretty penny on this.
$19.8 million. It
Yeah,
was expected initially to be a little over 18. It's almost a $20 million franchise tag.
yeah, like it's pretty much probably around or near of what we offered him to begin with. So I get it's the rules of the game. It's the rules of pros. Pros is not gonna overspend if he don't feel like he needs to. And I guess, like I said, he's probably asking for well over 22 to 23 to 24 million. And he wasn't willing to do that. So we said we'll franchise tag you and see if you could play your way into what you think you earn, and then we'll come back and feel like we're able to do it. But they did say they're still working on long-term deals, as they say. But who knows what that means? That could just be talk.
I mean, the thing is that it makes sense for them to try to still negotiate something to see what they can get right, because ultimately, they have until July, so before the beginning of the season, to determine if they can reach a long-term deal. And I think for both sides, it would make sense if you can get a long-term deal done, mainly because you're paying him close to what. Like, let's be clear, it's $19.8 million. If he wants $20 million a year, you're getting close to that anyway. And so
Yeah.
you want to keep him long term, because if you didn't want to keep him long term, it wouldn't even be this option of franchise tag him. So the Bears clearly want his services there long term. He's done everything you could want for homegrown talent to be and to do, and so it just comes down to getting that number at the place where both the team and the Bears feel comfortable. I mean, and Jaylon Johnson, his agent, feel comfortable at it. So smart
Yeah.
decision here. You can't let Jaylon walk away for nothing. And I think the Bears still hold quite a bit of leverage, because listen, Jaylon Johnson, for players that do play on the franchise tag, it happens every season. So I don't want to act like it's anything breaking if it does happen, but it's a risk for the player. Think about it. If Jaylon Johnson is to suffer a major injury while playing on a 1-year franchise tag, he's not going to get that money. So the Bears
Yeah.
still hold a little bit of leverage, and Jaylon Johnson still holds a little bit of leverage. But hopefully both sides can get a deal done.
And that's the thing. I was about to go into it. It's a risk on both sides. Whether he play out his mind and he can ask for that asking price and make it even higher than it was previously, or like you said, he can either regress or get injured, and that can affect his money next year when it's time to come back to the table and talk. And they can talk about, yeah, you just got injured. You didn't play half the game, so why would we give you anything you asked for to begin with? He might go lower than that. So, like I said, it's a risk on both sides. But I think the key thing that you said that everybody's going to pretty much agree with, you couldn't just let him go. You couldn't just let him go. You couldn't just let him walk. He was too important for this team. We seen this franchise challenge him. We'd already he's been noting, and he's been known for saying he felt like he's that type of player, he's that type of corner, and he felt like he deserved the big bust. And we challenged him to improve it, and he stood up to the challenge and did, for the most part, did be successful in that challenge. So I just say do it again. Go prove everybody else again. Prove Ryan Poles that he should have paid you what you asked for. And when it comes to this table next year, there's no doubt of what we're gonna do. We're just gonna pay you. So at this point, it's up to you now. The ball in your court.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we'll see. Jaylon Johnson bet on himself last season. It worked out, right? And you know, it's a risk for everybody involved in this, but I think ultimately they'll get a deal done. I feel confident. Like what the Bears are trying to build a defense, in my opinion, from what we've seen, the Bears are trying to build a defense that's a playoff caliber defense, and it basically pushes you to the playoffs, even with whatever your offense is going through. As it's still developing, whatever that's the case. And Jaylon Johnson is an important part to that. Now they do have some depth at that cornerback position, but I think that if the depth was something that was going to make or break them holding on to Jaylon Johnson, we wouldn't see necessarily this franchise tag either. So we got some amazing depth, but you want to continue to build off that. We got a team, a secondary full of players that are like 25 to 22 years old. And that's something that you don't see, especially at the impact that they're able to have. And now we just got to see them continue to build it out.
Yeah, it really is. And even if I think what the one thing that we do have about this whole situation, like, don't get me wrong, if it was the case that we were to lose Janet Johnson, excuse me, we build up a nice rapport with Pose where we feel like he's able to find another one. As we seen it
That's
with
true as
Tyreek,
well.
we even seen it with Terrell, but it's just nice to see that he still realized like this is somebody he wants a part of this core, a part of this defense to years to come. Because, like you said, he could even did what he did earlier this year. He could have said, "Go and test, we'll see what you can do. Go test yourself." And you ask for a trade, and you can put away out there said, "Go test yourself in the market and see if somebody give you the same amount of money." He could have did that, but he said, "No, I'm gonna keep you here for one more year because I still want to give you there, and we're going to negotiate during the whole time as much as we possible to get a long-term deal done." But I think the whole point is, I need you here, and I just feel like money-wise, and plus we ain't got into free agency. The draft didn't happen, so we really know he's not really trying to lock down no more money unless he know you that guy for sure. When it came to this trade with Sweat, because I know a lot of people gonna be like, "Well, you ain't had no problem trading Sweat." Sweat showed you in Washington and here why he was worth that money. He had 6 sacks when we traded him, and he got like 6 more after. So like it is what it is.
Yeah. Montez was a different situation. Like he proved what he could be at the defensive line. Now let me throw you this question. So over the last 2 seasons, he's missed almost 10 games. Do you think that may be a sticking point in this contract negotiation with Ryan Poles and the Bears?
Most definitely, because a lot of those injuries wasn't like they was football injuries, but they're not the most common football injuries. Like during the last year, he was doing had a lot of abdominal injuries that was a problem, a lot of chest injuries. I think he had a shoulder problem. It was just little like like little ticky tack injuries is some stuff that most people worry about at a physical position, a corner. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it as well. They want to see him not only improve his game, which he did, but they also want to see him be more consistent and play more games out there. And so that's the one thing about a lot of these corners. The corners that play the big butts play most of their games. And I think if we look at it at all the corners that would have been paid, if we were to give him the money that he asked for, he probably been in the top 3 of the most paid and hasn't played as much on the field in the past 3 years.
That's actually a good point there. I mean, we'll see. Jaylon Johnson's injuries, like while they do suck, make no mistake about it, it's not anything that's like career lingering or anything like that. He's had the normal injuries from a tough cornerback playing in the NFL. That just is what it is. And for a long part in time too, I think we got to remember for the last 2.5 years, we've had nothing in the pass rush, right? So now that we do have a solid pass rush, and hopefully that's going to get even stronger this year with decisions they make in free agency. I'm sure the Bears do want to hold on to Jaylon and get a look at what him and this whole secondary now look like with a full season of a solid defensive line as well. So all those things play a part into it. But I think I feel confident. I feel safe in feeling like both sides are motivated to get this done. Jaylon has talked several times about him wanting to stay in Chicago. We know Ryan Poles wants him to stay here. They just got to figure out that whether it's guaranteed money, whatever it is, figure out a common ground on that and get the deal done. And then let's focus on football.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only thing about it, like, is that he constantly is preaching that he wants to get deals done, but it's only a couple that he's really, without a doubt, got just inked the pen dry and ain't really thought about it. And everything else is like a little bit of reluctancy of what he wants to do. And I mean, as it be it may, in the position he is, I don't totally blame him. It's a very crucial part of his whole career. It's probably one of the most important and strenuous and stressful times in his whole career. So like he's being very careful because he know one wrong move can cost me my job, and most importantly, others' jobs by under me. So I can understand why you're doing it. As a fan, it's annoying, but at the end of the day, I understand.
Facts. Facts. But any last thoughts, Stevo, before we get up out here then, brother?
No, like I said, we the number one spot for all news that drop. So make sure y'all like,
That's it.
subscribe.
When news drops, we drop. That's it. That's it. Listen, we've been killing it. I mean, Steve-O been live more than a little bit. It's only Tuesday. You know, it is what it is. When news drops, we drop. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. The daily episode probably dropped about 20 minutes before this episode dropped. So don't let that fall by the wayside. Go check out that daily episode I dropped a little bit before now. But hey, if anything else drops, you guys know once the Fields or the number one picker move, we'll be one of the first spots to get a video up. So make sure you guys stay locked in. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag to sound off on this or any other Bears topic, 773-242-9336 with your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Chi-Town up, Bear down, y'all. Peace.